And welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our 5th season, we are looking at Joe Johnston's 2011 film, Captain America, The First Avenger. I'm Andy Nelson from The Next Reel.
Oh, hi, Andy. I'm Pete Wright, also from The Next Reel. Great to see you here.
Today, we are talking about Minute 13, which begins with Howard Stark introducing himself, and it ends with Steve looking off into the distance at something that has caught his eye. Joining us on the show today, from Season 2, it's Rob Kubasko, and from Season 3, it's Kyle Olson.
Hey!
bitter rivals.
Hi, Kyle.
Oh,
nice
man.
to meet you. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, I've heard a couple of your episodes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Just a
that
few.
Season,
Just
that
a
whole
few.
Season 2 was a blur.
Yeah. I didn't say I was a fan. I just said I heard him.
I heard you. I heard you.
Listen to these two. It's like old bickering wives, I tell you.
Yeah.
So we are walking into this. We're finally getting Howard Stark to introduce himself. Now, you two are pretty familiar with Howard Stark, but not this Howard Stark, not this younger version.
Yeah, I was saying, John Slattery looks great, doesn't he?
That de-aging stuff's crazy.
I know, man.
You know, that's actually an interesting point. Was there ever any talk in your big Marvel book about the reason that they chose to? I mean, maybe they just thought, we're spending so much time and money on Steve Rogers and all of that. Let's not go into the de-aging sort of stuff that obviously Marvel does later, because they certainly could have taken Slattery and, de-aged him 30 years to kind of play this particular iteration of the character.
Nothing.
Very true.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
I think well, from what I understand, the getting Slattery was kind of a big deal for Jon Favreau. Like, he basically got him for a day because he was shooting Mad Men. Like, he's a
busy guy,
featured player on Mad Men, and so Mad Men was still shooting at this time. So I think it would have been a much harder get. Plus, 30 years, I think you can get away with the recasting.
Yeah, they're really good at doing that now, like younger Michael Douglas when he's talking to them, stuff like that. It's pretty interesting the way things shake out. But we have Dominic Cooper here playing the 1940s version. And, honestly, it makes sense to cast somebody who they knew we could also have in this TV show that we're spinning up following Agent Carter.
True.
And that way we have this person who can be around for a lot more time. So it all makes sense why they would do it.
Well, I'm curious what you guys think of Dominic here as Howard Stark, because I feel like now Slattery is the odd man out.
Well,
yeah, true. Well, technically, Dominic is the third person to play,
right?
Because because you guys did Iron Man.
Gerard Sanders.
That's right. Yeah,
Nobody talks about a poor Gerard.
Nobody talks about
poor Gerard.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about Gerard.
It's the period Howard doesn't like to talk about. I was trying a different look. But yeah, I think Dominic is great. I mean, obviously he's a very well-established actor. He would go on to do Preacher for a number of things, so back in the comic book world. And once again, another Brit playing an American. And doing so flawlessly. You would never know. It's like the first time you hear Andrew Garfield speak, and you're like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
He does it quite well. Dominic Cooper,
Rob?
We're going to do the IMDb game real quick, then we'll jump back to talking about him. What are the 4 films that you would say he is known for on IMDb? I will tell you right now, they're all films. They're all films. There is no TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think of him much more as a television guy.
I don't either. I think that would be...
This one?
Yeah, this one. I couldn't name another movie he was in. Do you want to give some hints?
Well, there's, let's see, there's a period...
Are they ones we know?
Well... There's one that I would think that I'm sure you've heard of all of these. I don't know if any of you would have seen any of these. I'll tell you because, I don't want to drag this out too long. From 2011, it's the film The Devil's Double. Do you remember that movie?
Never even heard of it.
Oh.
It was, I remember the poster. It's like a guy who's like, it's like Goldfinger. He's completely painted gold. He's wearing a gold outfit. Everything in the image is gold. And I very much remember this world. It was all about like Saddam Hussein and like his son, I think is what it was about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was that film. So that's the first one. And I think he's the lead. So I think that's likely why. He was in the film My Week with Marilyn, also from 2011.
What?
That's the film
Michelle
about
Williams.
Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, Michelle Williams.
He's
playing
not
Marilyn
in
Monroe.
that movie.
He's in
You're
that movie.
bonkers. No, it's Eddie Redmayne is in that movie. He's not in that movie.
It's a movie with more than two people, Pete. Believe it or not.
Kenneth Branagh's in that movie. Now there's three, and one of them is not Dominic Cooper.
The third film is, of course, Captain America: The First Avenger. So that's three films from 2011, plus the film The Duchess, the Keira Knightley, Ralph Fiennes film from 2008. So, yeah, it's a little trickier to kind of run down the list of films that he had been in. But,
Toby
he'd also
Jones,
been in things like
4 people in the Marilyn Monroe, and not one of them is Dominic. He's not listed in main cast. I feel like IMDb is trolling me.
Toby Jones will be showing up later on here in this movie.
Yeah, I know. Little crossover event that we had back then.
Mm-hmm.
That's very funny.
All right. So, but this is this version of Howard Stark that's kind of like this eager inventor that we're getting here. We get this guy, he's invented basically like this flying car. He's converted this beautiful, beautiful car, and he's taken the wheels off. We see the girls, he talks about with Stark Gravitic Reversion Technology. God, try saying that a few times fast. Stark Gravitic Reversion Technology. It reverses gravity, and when they take the tires off, it reveals these things in place of the wheels that basically reverse gravity, and the car floats. Obviously, it's something that he's still working on, as we see. But this is like this early, eager beaver sort of Howard Stark, and I kind of like that with this character.
This is much more the Howard Hughes.
Yes.
I think, which was the original inspiration, of course, for Tony Stark. Now they've sort of have moved it onto him, so it's much more of that kind of half Errol Flynn.
Certainly better fits the era, too. I mean, it's so easy, hand to glove. I feel like we can't move on past this minute when he introduces gravitic reversion technology. The thing that is dramatically undersold is how lightweight the actual tires are that the girls remove. Do you notice how easily they take the tires and whiff them away?
They're
Those were
prop
props.
tires.
Yeah,
prop tires.
No. Those were Howard Stark Amazo tires. And
Amazo is actually from DC.
It's in the book. Rob's got the book. He just hadn't read that far yet. I'm sure it's in there. The Amazo tires. Tireless tires.
Funny you should mention books, though. There actually is a section on this in one of the Marvel books. This is in the Wakanda Files. They actually have a section on this, and they actually have the patent that Howard Stark
gravitic reversion?
for this exact car, like for gravitic reversion. And they actually say they don't. He uses gravitic reversion, but he actually is in the patent calls it a gravity shield.
Oh,
so like that's the idea, is that he has like some sort of energy bubble that's going on the bottom of it that's like, negating the gravity around it.
Yeah,
that feels very Star Wars, really.
A little bit, yeah.
Like land speeder. Like, I feel like that's what
like
they're using on those.
Like the repulsor lifts.
Yeah,
exactly. And then it goes on to say it jump into the future. He then shows off this same technology to the military on July 30th and crashes the car into a second-story building. It goes right through the thing. There's a picture, but it's a drawing of the car, the back end of the car, out, jutting out of the building.
And what's interesting on that,
the second does not go well.
It's another Series 62 Cadillac, it looks like, but it's green.
Yeah.
It's not red.
A green one.
What?
Yeah, so it's not this one, it's a different car.
Speaking of different cars, is this tied in any way up to Coulson's car, Lola?
Yeah.
This is the same thing?
This is they're drawing a line that says that the stuff he develops here will eventually be used in Lola and future cars down the way.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fun, like these little connections that they continue to find as they kind of jump through everything. Although it's got to be hell for the person whose job it is to try to remember all these different things and threads and make sure that they tie them together properly. Because, as you know, in the comics, they didn't have that, and that's why we have rewriting history over and over and over again.
That's why there are no prizes.
Yes, exactly. One of the things that I love about this, we've had, Alan Silvestri's score playing periodically through these last few minutes, but in this, we can start hearing the Expo theme, Make Way for Tomorrow Today, by John Powell from Iron Man 2, very faintly popping up in there, and I thought that was a lovely little nod for you two, having talked about that.
The Sherman Brothers.
That's good
Make
stuff.
Way for Tomorrow Today.
That's right.
Rob, go ahead and sing it, please.
Wait, hold on, let me check.
I believe it's make way for tomorrow today.
Okay, good.
Sherman Brothers lyrics, they get in your head and
really come.
leave.
Yeah. Really,
so
really low ceiling.
I got to say, when you're talking about Stark, as we've talked about him before, you know what I realized in this, really focusing on this minute? I like Dominic Cooper's Stark over Slattery.
Heresy.
Yeah. And here's why. Because, okay, you know what I love in the first moment of this minute is he gets a kiss from one of the people, and he immediately takes out his handkerchief.
Yeah.
And I thought equal parts, don't want the lipstick on, but it's Howard Stark. No, he's a germaphobe.
Yes.
Going to the Howard Hughes thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's immediately that, like, oh, God. I mean, like, yeah, you're a woman, but no, I don't want you to kiss me. So you got that. And I really
he kissed her, but your point stands.
He did, but the fact that immediately he's like, I got to get rid of the germs.
He's a germaphobe and a showman.
Yes, exactly. And I love the much more of the grungier sort of like, get his hands dirty, do this. And then, as you know, this depiction of this character shown is he's out on his boat, like doing an undercover agent mission, like all this other stuff. Slattery, I don't ever see Slattery doing that. Slattery's always in a suit with Jarvis and he's drinking tea. Like that's
and being a bad dad.
Yeah. Yes, right?
He's the older version who's like
for his 10-year-old son.
He's had the success, and now he's kind of like the fat cat, and he's just kind of like sitting back and not as active or eager anymore. Right. There is that kind of feel with him.
I love this one.
He's Brian Doyle Murray in Christmas Vacation. Give me somebody. Give me somebody while I'm waiting. That's who I see with Slattery's.
The thing that I also just kind of love about Howard is, well, and I'm trying to figure out, like we talked about in the last minute, how the change in the script line and kind of like the change in impression from Howard to Tony, as far as like the girl's not here because it's him or anything like that. But we have this moment. He comes out and yes, he kisses the Stark girl. We've got that row of Stark girls on the stage. None of them are credited except for the one he kisses, who is credited. That is Molly Fitzgerald playing that Stark girl. And she gives him the microphone. But we have a woman holler out from the audience, I love you, Howard. And he doesn't do anything. He doesn't respond. And I was like, that's actually a really interesting character difference that we have between father and son. Because if that was Tony, and we actually see that, as I recall, at the very beginning of Iron Man 2, I love you too. But we don't get that here. And that's, it's the era, but also I like that there is a little bit of that kind of difference that they're implying between father and son here.
Very true. I also like that there's something that they're doing here that they're showing a little bit of the feet of clay thing that Marvel is known for. That when you meet Steve, like his first major thing is getting his butt kicked in an alleyway. That's his first action scene. And then when you meet Howard for the first time, it's not a grand success. It's a huge failure on an epic stage. And so and we're going to obviously then he comes back later on and you get to, so it's not establishing it like these are the best and brightest. It's like, no, these are guys who are just trying to do what they can do, and not always succeeding at everything. I think it's a very interesting way, especially for a 4-color comic book movie, to show the flaws in their heroes right from the start.
But I think that's also reflective of the time, even in that early 20th, late 19th century, early 20th century, was all of the inventions of the time were not based on, nobody invented anything immediately. They invented it after thousands of failures, right? So, I mean, like, that is all part of that story that these guys, I love the fact that, it is, he is introduced in a moment of weakness. But I think that's just part of his life in trying to figure out the answers to things.
They don't quit.
Right.
And that's, exactly. That's critical.
That's
absolutely right. Critical. Yeah. We have this great moment here, Steve. We talked about at some point he bought a bag of peanuts.
Nuts to you, Andy. Because the moment happens here.
Oh boy, I tell you, boy, Steve, he's trying to be the good date. He offers peanuts to Bonnie. She looks at them and just glares at him like, how dare he? And she's actually scripted as looking at the peanuts with scorn. What? Like, why? Like, is it just because it's this scrawny guy that I mean, we've seen it a million times, trying to hook you up with, the friend that in some way seems lesser or whatever. And that is it just because like Bucky is trying to hook her up with this, puny person? I'm not sure. Or does she just not like peanuts?
It's the peanuts. That bag is awfully tiny. She knows his fingers have had to get all the way inside that bag to get the nuts. I don't want to put my fingers in there.
Well, I think it's
I
interesting
don't
that
want
you're
to
talking
put
about
my fingers in there.
Wait, and
we
that's
have
not
an
the title.
episode
Oh, wait.
That's
title.
the germaphobe.
No, that's not the title of this episode.
No.
What's the title of this episode? No tires, no hover, no nuts.
He's still got it.
He still got it.
I think
Unreal.
what you were talking about before with the third wheel, well, now he's become a fifth wheel.
Yes,
because
to Howard Stark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that's part of it too. It's not only is she disappointed because she's not with Bucky, but now, oh my God, there's Howard Stark, and it's just like, who's this guy? Like, but
Yeah.
don't interrupt me when I'm looking at Howard Stark. I only get to look at Howard Stark for this presentation because she, I think, came to the expo to see Howard Stark because she's the one who says it's starting.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, she's not there to see Steve. She's there to see Howard.
In the script, Howard actually has another line, and I it's a fun line. I can't decide. I honestly don't think they need it, but it was kind of fun. He says, "Ladies, you know how hard it can be putting on makeup in a car that's bouncing like a kangaroo on a trampoline."
Wow.
Oh, that's old.
Man, I hope that never got shot.
Oh,
That line should be taken out and shot.
It's a lot of
wow.
It's a lot. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on in that line. Oh my gosh.
Ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we
Yeah.
like second drafts.
I don't think I have anything else for this minute. Do any of you have any last thoughts?
No, I wonder what Steve's looking at.
What is Steve looking at? Clearly, Bonnie's scorn that she threw his way with the peanuts has caused him to say, you know what, I'm just going to look elsewhere. And something catches his eye. What could it be?
Could not look further from the potential date. Could not look further.
That's right.
All the way around. All the way around.
He is completely given up on this attempt at helping Bucky have a good night.
Bucky's going to be fine.
Bucky will be fine. Absolutely.
Well, eventually.
Yeah, I know. Always got some problems coming down the line. But
All right, Kyle and Rob, thanks as always for joining us here back on Season 5 Marvel Movie Minute, talking about Minute 13.
You're welcome.
we made way for tomorrow today.
You sure did. And are you going to be able to be with us tomorrow for Minute 14?
Well, all right.
Indubitably.
Are you kidding, Andy? They could do this all week.
Wow.
Hey, look at that. Look at that.
All right. I get any variation of that
You're
line.
just-
We'll
you're just
figure it
gonna
out. By
throw-
the end of this season, don't even worry about it.
You will have said that so many more times than the rest of the people on this planet. It will be almost painful by that point. Remember, everybody, you can become a member of the show, and members get early access to the episodes and also hiatus, like bonus episodes that we drop. Before the season started, we had us talking about Joe Johnston's The Wolfman, and we had talking about Chris Evans in The Losers, along with some early Captain America films, the Marvel one-shots, all sorts of fun stuff. So you can learn more at truestory.fm/Marvel Movie Minute. Most of the cost is $5 per a month or $55 per year. And I guess that's everything. So, Pete, thanks as always.
No, thank you, Andy. It's been a real treat to see you here again.
Until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of True Story FM. Engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is Spread the News by Anthony Vega, and this season's show art is by Winston Yabo. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, consider doing that for this show.